Together we're making a healthy mashup of a Big Mac cheeseburger and cheesy nachos in my Big Mac Nachos. They're made with seasoned ground beef and layered in a sheet pan with tortilla chips, cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, and pickles. Then it's topped with my high-protein Big Mac sauce for the ultimate appetizer or meal. Hello, my name is Nicole Bonilla, and if you like healthier recipes made with all natural ingredients, then you are in the right place. To make these tasty nachos, we're going to start by browning our ground beef. And I've just brought a medium-sized fry pan to a medium-high heat. First, I'm going to drizzle in about a tablespoon of some avocado oil. And then I'll spread this around to coat the bottom of the pan. And then I've chopped up about 1/4 of a white onion, so we'll add that to the pan. I like to cook the onions with the ground beef so they're nice and soft, which makes them easy to digest, as opposed to just putting fresh onions onto the nachos before they bake. Next, we'll add in 1 pound of ground beef, and we'll go ahead and start to break that up in our pan. And then I'm going to add 4 cloves of minced garlic, but you could also use garlic powder. And then we'll season with about a teaspoon of salt, and I'll drizzle in about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And this will add a nice rich and kind of smoky flavor. And then I'll just continue to break up the meat, flip it over so it can brown evenly. And then we'll let this continue to cook and brown until we don't see any more pink. Well, our meat's been cooking for about 5 to 7 minutes and I no longer see any pink, so we can go ahead and turn off our heat. Then I'm just going to take a plate lined with a paper towel, and then I'll use a big slotted spoon to get the meat out of the pan and onto the paper towel. And this will help drain off excess liquid and grease. And then we can set our meat aside until we're ready to assemble our nachos. To make this healthier version of Big Mac sauce, we're going to start with Greek yogurt as our base. Now you could also use mayonnaise if you like, or even cottage cheese. I really like using Greek yogurt because it has tons of protein and a little bit of tangy flavor, which tastes delicious in the sauce. So in a small bowl, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of some full-fat Greek yogurt. Next, we'll add 2 tablespoons of some avocado oil, but you could also use light olive oil. Next, I'm going to use a teaspoon of mustard powder, but you could also use jarred mustard. And for a touch of natural sweetness, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. You could also use honey. And for a little tang and flavor, I'm going to add a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, but you could use white vinegar instead. And for seasonings, we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. Then we'll add about 1/4 teaspoon salt and a dash of pepper. And then we simply stir it together until it's well combined. And depending on how you're serving it, you could add a little bit of relish to the sauce, but since I'm going to be serving this on the nachos that will have pickles on it, I won't add relish to the sauce. And now is the perfect time for a little pinky test. That is so good. I love that it has a little bit of sweetness and tang to it. Now if you'd like this to be a little bit on the sweeter side, go ahead and add a little bit more maple syrup to taste. Now that we've made our sauce, we can set this aside until we're ready to assemble our nachos. To assemble the nachos, you'll want to use a half-size baking sheet or cookie sheet. And I like to line it with a sheet of parchment paper just to make cleanup even easier. And then you can spread about a 12-ounce bag of tortilla chips. And I try to spread them out so that they have a relatively flat surface for adding all of our toppings to. And if there's any that are folded in half, I'll go ahead and just kind of break them open so that they can get more toppings. Now that we have all the chips spread out in our pan, we'll go ahead and sprinkle on our cheddar cheese. And I have 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, but you could certainly use more if you like. And you can use any variety of cheese that you like. Next, I'm just going to take a spoon and then spread out our ground beef and our onions. And oh, this looks so good. And if you have any long pieces of ground beef, you can go ahead and break them up so that they're all in nice bite-sized pieces. And since you can never have too much cheese, I'm going to go ahead and grate just a little bit more over the top, just to make sure that ground beef is sandwiched in lots of melty cheese. Well, this looks amazing, and it's ready to go into a 400-degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes, or until this cheese is melted and bubbly. Well, here are our nachos after 10 minutes in the oven, and they look gorgeous. You can see that the cheese was just starting to get nice and toasty on top. While we're waiting this to cool off for just a couple minutes, a really great hack for getting the sauce on top of the nachos in a kind of aesthetic way is to pipe it out of a snack bag. I'm just going to open a bag and fold back the edges, spoon in some of our healthy, delicious fry sauce, and then gently press out the excess air and seal the top of the bag. Now you get to decide how you assemble your nachos, but I like to start with my lettuce. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of some fresh green lettuce over the top. And this adds delicious color as well as a fresh, crunchy element. And then I'm going to sprinkle on 2 diced Roma tomatoes. Now, technically Big Macs don't have tomatoes on them, but this just makes ours a little bit healthier. And then we can sprinkle on about a cup of pickles. You could also use relish if you prefer. Now we'll take our bag of fry sauce and a pair of scissors and then just snip off about a 1/4 inch off the corner. And then we'll simply drizzle the sauce back and forth across our nachos. Ooh, yes, this is as fun and satisfying as it looks. And then for our final garnish, I'm just gonna sprinkle on a little bit of sesame seeds. This is gonna add some delicious texture as well as a little crunch and flavor. And it kind of mimics the bun of a Big Mac. Oh my goodness, this looks so good. The only thing left to do is dig in. That tastes so good. Sorry, I shouldn't talk with my mouth full. That is seriously satisfying on so many levels. That is an explosion of flavor of everything you love most about nachos and Big Macs. And that sauce on top just takes us to a whole nother level. And I love knowing that I'm eating something with clean, natural ingredients, which means I'm gonna feel just as good even after I eat it. And I love being able to share my creatively healthier recipes so that you can enjoy them too. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen. I've included a link to the full recipe and it's in the video description below. And it takes you to my website, gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you know someone else who you think would love this recipe, please share this video with them. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen.